Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski. I will be co-hosting today. That makes me the co-host with the most from the coast with the most. Here on the Rundown, 2A Views, conservative news. Craig, how's your Thirsty Thursday looking today?
It is looking quite thirsty. Unfortunately, I have been quite unsuccessful in beginning my weekend. This evening, I've got myself a school board meeting, so, I've got to be on my P's and Q's.
Yep. No, I hear you. I like to refer to Thursday as day 4 of the hostage situation.
Day 4 of the hostage situation.
Yeah.
We have had this conversation before, haven't we? Sometimes it's just like that, man. Look, you know what? You got to do what you got to do, but I happen to believe in that concept of work hard, play hard.
Absolutely. I love to play hard, play hard. It's a great policy.
Would you say play hard, play hard?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
Play hard, play hard.
Just wanted to be sure I heard you correctly. Now, how is your Thirsty Thursday going thus far?
A lot of moving around today. A lot of visiting folks. A lot of driving around. A lot of shaking babies, kissing hands, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. You're not supposed to be shaking babies. And kissing hands is slightly sexist, unless, of course, you're kissing guys' hands too.
Unless it's the baby's hand.
You shake them and then you kiss their hand.
Well, you don't want a regular stagnant
Good thing
hand,
you're not running for office.
Right? But then if I was, I'd be out there shaking babies and kissing hands, right? Isn't it?
Pretty much. All right, Mike, let's go ahead. How about we start with the shout out to our sponsors?
We shall. Let's say hello to our good friends over at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. If you got an AR in the past 5 years, you probably have one of their barrels and don't even know it. But now you can buy direct from them for your next AR build or replace the barrel in your current rifle. That's hitmanindustries.net. Let's say hi to our good friends over at the California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. It's crunch time, folks. Reach out to them and see if there's any way you can help, and take a look at their recommendations as well. And then, of course, if you want some awesome combat gear, some tactical gear, some web gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors. These are the folks who bring us to you so that we will bring you to them. So do us a favor. Follow the links to their websites that's in the description of this program. Go there. Check them out. If you like what you see, and I'm pretty sure you will, make sure you kick them down some cash, whether it's becoming a member, making a donation, or purchasing their products. But most importantly, make sure you tell them those guys over at the Rundown that sent you.
Say hey.
Say hi. Okay. Okay, this first story, Mike, I had to include because, any chance we get to pump up Captain Florida, we want to go ahead and do that because, quite frankly, he is America's governor, to be quite frank with you. Every single time the woke left decides that they're going to come up with an idea, that they're going to try and come up against him, he makes them look like an idiot. And he has done it once again in this particular case. A lot has been said in the media, and you've seen the politicians talk about, how heartless it is that he has taking folks who've come and entered our border illegally, come into our country without going through the appropriate process, that are being shipped to his state, and he's decided that he's going to send them to Martha's Vineyard or send them to other jurisdictions that are, by the way, more receptive, or at least have the resources, because they are sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. He decided to send them to where they've said, hey, we're going to provide you sanctuary. Well, obviously the left has come down and they're just really angry with him and they've tried to make him look bad. But it turns out, according to a Florida poll, that a majority of legal immigrants. Now, by the way, the word legal immigrant to a certain degree is a bit of an oxymoron, because here's the thing. They're immigrants, right? If you are in the country illegally, you are an illegal alien, not an immigrant. Or at the very least, you are an illegal immigrant. but you are not a quote unquote immigrant. Anyway, what it's noting in here is that people who did enter the country legally, people who did go through the process, spent the resources and all that stuff, yeah, they kind of like what DeSantis is doing. And, I had the same conversation with both my wife, who immigrated here from Fiji, and her family, and another friend of mine, his wife came from Guatemala, and their family immigrated here. And they're all in agreement. Look, if we go through the process legally, we do all the stuff that we're supposed to do. Why should we be kowtowing to people who basically want to cut in front of the line?
No, you're exactly right, and that's the image, or excuse me, the perception that's going on here in Florida as well, is that everybody that is here legally and did the paperwork and emigrated to the country properly is against these illegals. Now, nobody wants to see any harm come to them. Nobody wants to see anything ridiculous, but they want them to do it the right way. They all did it the right way, and they want to see that done with these new immigrants coming, so they don't become illegal aliens.
Right. And I think and on top of that, sending them to a place where they have said, we welcome you, we will protect you from, whatever. If you've made that commitment, then you ought to own up to it. In places like New York and Chicago and San Francisco and Sacramento, they've made these decisions and these commitments, well, guess what? You once again, you don't get to just make a blanket policy statement and then get angry when someone calls you on it.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that's what's going on. Craig, you started this off calling Governor DeSantis America's governor. I'm not sure how I feel about America's governor. I like Captain Florida. Okay. And I think when you call something America's, something we know has been a history of it being treated poorly. Like Giuliani was America's mayor, right? And we see how they treat America's mayor now. They continually beat him down. And then prior to that, of course, we have the Dallas Cowboys was America's team, and now everybody beats them.
Nobody beats Dallas Cowboys. Let me clarify. Except for Philadelphia and Tampa Bay this year. Yeah. But when we are celebrating our Super Bowl this year, you will resemble those remarks.
Super Bowl. Oh, you guys have like a special one for you guys, or like a special Super Bowl, like special bowl?
Yeah. Whatever, Mike. Whatever. I'm not talking football with you anymore. I should turn off your mic.
I'll stay right here. Best of luck to the Cowboys. Best of luck.
You're a communist. You don't like America's team. You're a communist. Anyway, moving right along. There's a thing that took place in California. It was called AB5, and in essence, what it did was it redefined what an independent contractor was, and the whole goal of it was to go after independent truck drivers as well as those who drive Uber, Lyft, the ride sharing apps. Now, I know people who do this for a living. I did it for a while when I first started my business in order to kind of supplement my income. It is a phenomenal thing. People go into these businesses, number one, because it gives them flexibility, right? It gives them flexibility to either be able to, in many cases, they have another full-time job. In some cases, they're doing something that maybe doesn't have as stable an income. I know a lot of actors who do it, but it gives them the ability to supplement their income, and they like the independence. They like being able to control their own schedule. And determine how much money they're going to make by how much they're willing to work. Well, in California, they basically wanted to get rid of them, so they passed a law that redefined what an independent contractor was. It drastically impacted not just what I was doing then, but it impacted my business because there were people who I was contracting with outside of the state of California that didn't know or weren't sure exactly if what we were doing was in compliance with California law. So I lost business as a result of AB5. Now at the federal level, they are looking at instituting the exact same thing. The National Review is reporting on how the Biden administration is basically taking one of California's worst ideas nationwide. And what that idea is, Mike, is the war that they are planning to wage on the gig economy. Their goal, once again, is to undo or make it so that those who do, whether it's independent truckers, those who are independent contractors, or those who who work for rideshare companies, not work for, but use rideshare apps, that they are now going to be listed or included as employees for those companies.
Craig, this comes down to a couple of key little things. This is the whole reason California's done it, whole reason the feds are looking to do it, and we just had this whole thing. We've been going over this for 3 years now. It's about control. How dare you, reach out and find your own way to make money and support your family and live out your dreams? No, we want more control. And what do we get we get more control over you when you're making money? We get tax money from you. We got to make sure you're not squeaking a dollar out behind us and we don't get our 41 cents out of it, depending on which state you're in. We want our money. We want control. How dare you? Craig, this is going to affect everyone. I mean, don't you think about every industry that you do, there's a 1099 subcontractor, independent employee in there involved. I mean, the easy ones I could off the top of my head are the truck drivers. Let's talk about, I don't know, barbers, right? Did you know that barbers don't own their own barber shops? They rent chairs. They're independent contractors at the shop you go to. How about anybody that takes care of maintenance around your house or lawn maintenance around your house? It's not some giant company coming there, is it? It's a little independent contractor taking care of things for you. It's going to destroy trying to either earn that primary buck as an independent contractor, or you want to make those couple extra dollars on the side because you've got the time and you got the skill set. Nope. Not anymore. Our government needs that control, and they need their money from you.
Right. And the thing is what it does is it winds up increasing the cost and the liability for the companies and for the employers. It winds up removing the flexibility that the rideshare app use, or the employee, not employee, they're not employees, the business owners, because these are small business owners. It removes the flexibility. The very reason why they opted to do this was because it would provide them that flexibility, but then it also dramatically increases the cost for the end user. So all of a sudden, it's no longer cost efficient for you to use Uber or Lyft or to use DoorDash. It now becomes dramatically more expensive. And so what in essence happens is everyone loses. And I don't know anybody who does this for a living, who wants to be a full-time employee for one of these companies, especially right now where you can go and get a job for 20 something an hour. If you want to be an employee, there's plenty of jobs out there for you to go and get and be an employee. You don't have to go and do Uber or Lyft or do rideshare programs. But by the way, Mike, it also has dramatically affected, once again, independent truckers, which is one of the reasons why we've seen such an issue with the supply chain issues, in particular dealing with ports in California, because they're having a hard time getting truckers to work in California.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. And remember, Craig, this is about taking that control, and yeah, sure, you could make them a full-time employee, but they're not there because they want to be a full-time employee most of the time. They're trying to supplement an income for a lot of people. Listen, I have many small businesses I'm involved with. One of them is we have 3 employees, not full-time. We got a couple part-timers, 1 full-timer, right? Mm-hmm. But if I add another one beyond a third, the liability insurance and the employee costs go up dramatically. So we have a couple of 1099 independents that work for us well on their own schedule when available. If you're telling me you have to add it, you're going to increase the small business costs for employees over 100%, which guess what that means to you folks? Because I'm not going to greatly just go into my pocket and go, oh, I'm going to pay for that. That's going to get rolled back onto you, the consumer. And that's what you want right now, while inflation's at its highest, is you want more costs for your product.
More costs for your product. Well, and the thing is that, like you said, this is going to ultimately wind up impacting people in their pocketbook, in their wallet. And it removes the flexibility that we've been looking for. And these policymakers, once again, they don't care. They really, honestly and truly do not care what the overall impact is. You are 100% right when you say that this is all about control.
They need your money to facilitate their programs. Who do you think's paying back Build Back Better and paying back the student loan program? You are. Guess what they need to do it? Your money. Here's how they get some more of it.
Yep. And that's one of the other things that it does is whether it's payroll taxes, whether it's unemployment insurance, and all of this stuff. That's all of what it is. It's all money that's going into the government, money that's going to increase the money that's going into the government. That, in the end, is their goal.
That's it.
Oh, speaking about their goals and the story and some of the stupid stuff that they are doing, there is a new carry bill, Mike, in New Jersey, as if we're surprised that New Jersey's come up with some bad ideas for concealed carry. But there's a new piece of legislation. This is actually written by John Petrolino over at Bearing Arms. And this new bill, which is, by the way, is so incredibly bad. Here, let me. Here are some of the stipulations that are in this particular measure. So it bans carry in common places by labeling them as sensitive places. Once again, forbidden by the Bruin decision. Bans carry in one's own car. Which, by the way, how are you supposed to get anywhere if you can't carry a firearm in your car? Bans carry on commercial or private property unless the property owner posts notices allowing it. So this is the exact opposite. So in other words, they don't have to put something up saying you can't carry. They have to post something saying that you're allowed to carry. Increases fees for permits, mandates special insurance, which we've already talked about. For the most part, that special insurance does not exist, as well as adds new unusual training requirements. And I haven't seen exactly what those exact training requirements are, but the fact is that they're looking to make it more expensive and more complicated for you to carry. And, by the way, reduce the number of places where you are, in fact, going to be allowed to carry. Mike, does this surprise you at all?
No, listen, this is almost an identical copy of the law put into effect in New York. Their neighbors there. So you saw this is coming. They made this announcement about 2 weeks ago that they were going to be putting this together. As the article says, clearly unconstitutional, clearly a slap in the face to the Supreme Court. The one that really gets me, Craig, is in there. They say that you're going to be required to have special insurance. Yet it was 3 years ago that New Jersey outlawed gun insurance in their state from the couple of vendors that offered it. So they're now going to require you to get something that they've already told you is illegal to have in their state.
Oh, wow. Check this out. So even further down in the article, it talks about some other things that are in this bill. Check it out. It bans hundreds of common tools used throughout society, bans knives in restaurants. Wow. Okay. Scalpels in hospitals, utility knives. Okay. So these are knives. Bans axes, hammers, screwdrivers, nail guns, heavy tools. Bans baseball bats, hockey sticks. Dude. This bill is clearly a hot mess.
Yeah, well, that's what New Jersey does, right? They look around and they say, look, New York's got this, or California's got that, Massachusetts got this. Let's get it and make it worse. And that's what they do. We got a good friend over there at the New Jersey Second Amendment Society. And folks, he says all the time, he goes, why should you care about New Jersey? Because what they do here, they're going to copy elsewhere. So it is ground zero for ridiculous gun laws. We need to pay attention and we need to assist, whether it's the organization there in the newspaper or whether it's NJ2AS. You need to reach out and help these people.
Definitely help behind enemy lines, folks, behind enemy lines. All right, this next one is happening right here in my city, which is why I really wanted to talk about it. So we have a Secretary of State, or at least our last few Secretary of States, have been completely and utterly useless when it comes to doing what is their job, which is making sure that we have free and fair elections. They have fought against the idea of purging the voter rolls of duplicates, of people who no longer live in the state, or people who, quite frankly, are not even supposed to be voting. We had a mode voter law, which actually just automatically registered people who registered their cars and allowed them to register to vote. And so we've already know that there are tens of thousands of people who are not supposed to be voting, who are either registered to vote or are registered to vote and voting in California elections. And then we also know that there are people who are receiving multiple ballots. And here's just one example. This is a Sacramento voter. right? This guy basically received 3 ballots from 2 different California counties in the mail. Mike, there's no such thing as erection flaws, right?
No erection flaw.
Erection flawed. The erections are not flawed in California at all, let alone anywhere else in the country.
No, this is just typical of what goes on. This is California standing there saying, there's nothing to see, nothing here, move along, nothing to see, and you've got incredible amounts of opportunities for you. Have the government encouraging people. Listen, if a lot of people, I like to call them the 1-star folks, right? They just barely maintaining left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. But you send them 3 ballots in the mail, you know what they're going to do? They're going to fill out 3 ballots and send them back. I don't know. Why does this county want one? I don't know. Send one of them too, because they're afraid their vote's not going to get counted if they send the wrong one in. So you know what they do? They send them all in. And guess what happens? California's got 2 million extra votes again this year.
Well, so here in the piece, Mike, it notes, and I wondered, so here it says, okay, it says here, Sacramento County elections provided us a complete timeline of the ballots. Sacramento County round initial voter file on September 21st. September 28th, the voter canceled in Sacramento County due to a change in address for motor vehicles. Monterey County, they wound up process undeliverable ballot. So anyway, this is basically what happened in this guy's case. And what I'm finding odd here is that when you ask our Secretary of State if we can do something to check these files and purge these files and merge these files so that we, by the way, have a clean voter file, they absolutely positively refuse to do it. And their argument is, well, a disproportionate number of people of color wind up getting removed from the voter rolls. And I'm like, what does it matter if they're not supposed to be voting or if they're in the system twice? Why does it matter what the percentage of people are? I know, by the way, California happens to be a majority minority state. So I don't get it. I don't get what the problem is.
Yeah, listen, and you could see this person did their due diligence. Like, they moved, they told the county they left, that they're gone. They told the new county they're there, and yet the old county still sends them, the absentee ballot. You would think that, listen, when I tell you that I'm not there anymore, that's kind of the keys for you to take the check block away from my name and don't send me one anymore. But,
right.
Craig, I wish there was an easy answer. I wish I could say, listen, this guy's got 3 ballots in the mail. Let's say he doesn't live in any of their jurisdictions. Okay. Pick the president, the federal races and the state races. Stay off the local races. Would that really be voter fraud, Craig? If I sent in a ballot and I was living in a different county now, but I abstained for voting for any county positions and I only put the federal and state levels on.
Well, if you vote more than once, that's the question. Did he vote? Because he received 3 ballots, right?
Right.
One of the counties, that means, sent him the ballot twice. So he received 3 ballots from 2 different counties. So one county sent him 2 ballots. The other county sent him a ballot, even though he's not supposed to be there.
Well, and here's the crux of the problem, folks, is that he's got 3 ballots, right?
Right.
If he sends in all those 3 ballots, the state's going to accept all 3 of them and count them.
Yes.
That's the issue. The state should be ensuring that only 1 ballot goes out, and they should also have on the back end, Craig, that when they come in, they could check them and say, wait, we've already had 2 other votes from this guy. Toss them out. He only gets 1 vote. That's it. But they don't. That's where there are a lot of laws. That's what a lot of the problems are, folks, right? We know this from Arizona. 200,000 absentee ballots went out. 400,000 got turned in. And you know how many they counted? 400,000. The same goes on in California, Pennsylvania. We saw this everywhere because the law says, the ballot comes in, we got to count it.
Well, okay. Let us be careful, because what is in essence going to happen is, because we've already had one channel that is now suspended. Right. When we're reporting on these, what I like to do is I like to include a link to the article to be able to show them, look, we're reporting on a story here. Now, that doesn't really matter to them because it's suspended, by the way. By the way, I looked back. The piece that we got suspended for was actually on for January 31st, and as a part of that one, we were reporting that the Rundown channel had been deleted.
Oh,
because we were
so they're
talking
mad at
about
us because
we were
said,
talking about the Pennsylvania court ruling.
yes, we reported a court ruling. Yes, yeah,
Yes.
which
And by
involved
the
the
way,
election.
which was part of a Newsweek article,
Yeah,
and the channel got suspended. That is what the suspension or the strike from YouTube was for.
yeah. Maybe this will help, Craig. We're discussing all of this in theory, and the opinions of the host and callers do not represent the opinions of the host platform. How about that?
There you go. It doesn't matter to them, but okay.
Well, I got one of these for men.
There you go. Exactly. That's exactly what they deserve. But there's absolutely no way Mike, we could every week or almost every day, we could come up with examples where there are issues and challenges with various elections in various counties, in various states throughout the country. To say that you cannot comment on those because you are undermining our electoral system, I think not commenting on them is what is undermining our electoral system. Now, I'm not willing to go as far as saying the erection was stolen. Right?
It was flawed.
I said erection. I'm not willing to say it was stolen.
The erection was flawed.
But once again, there are flaws, there are errors, there are things that need to be addressed, and we owe it to our system to point those out, to say, look, this needs to get fixed. This is a problem. And these are all the folks who they keep calling erection deniers.
That's right.
Or Hillary Clinton's.
Hillary Clinton's. Exactly right. Yep.
I love, and I saw that the candidate, what is her name? She's running for governor in Arizona, and it's totally kicking butt. But she's doing the same thing that I've been doing, which is every time they bring up election deniers, I always bring up Stacey Abrams. I said, "Oh, you mean like Stacey Abrams? Yep. Oh, you mean like Maxine Waters? Oh, you mean like John Lewis? Oh, Hillary Clinton? Right. Oh, Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is, KJP. Those are all people who have denied elections. Now, unless the only thing that makes you an election denier is if you denied that Biden won, well, then now then your definition is skewed. Election deniers are people who deny the outcome of an election, and they did, and there were, in fact, by the way, before you say, well, but there were no riots. No, in 2016 there were riots in cities all across the country.
Oh yeah.
So you don't. Anyway, it's frustrating to me because I see them say it on one side and I don't see people calling people out on the left.
Absolutely not. We know. We saw this again recently. Every time it comes up, that they say that, you look at the insurrection. Liberals don't do that. And like, what do you really? Right. Seriously? Just roll the TV back 10 minutes and you can see riots going on halfway around the country.
Exactly. And by the way, that leads us into our parting shots. This next one, let's see where you at. Come on. Oh, nope. Go back up. All right. Into our parting shots. This next one, we're always, as Republicans, being accused of trying to deny votes or voter suppression. And so we figured out exactly how it is that Republicans have been working to deny people their right to vote. 25% of it is requiring citizenship in order to be able to vote. The other 25% is requiring identification. Then there's the whole must not vote more than once. Clearly, California is doing their best to try and make sure that that doesn't happen. At least Sacramento County is. And then must be alive. That's the Chicago standard that we're fighting against there with that one.
That's the Chicago way right there. Yeah.
Chicago way. But Mike, the other thing is, I think that a lot of this is indicative of something else, and One of the things you learn with statistics is that there are some things that are correlative and some things that are causative, right? When you're looking at data. Correlative means A causes B. Causative is A causes B. Correlative is A and B kind of go together. And there's one that you found that is correlative, but is highly indicative of what is wrong with certain states in America. And it has to do with whether or not you have a Waffle House.
It's the Waffle House factor.
Look at the
Waffle
states
House
that
factor.
have
Waffle Houses. Now, and they have election taken care of, right? Everything's good. You know, we've got stability. We've got good things going on. Then look at the states without Waffle Houses, and it's mass hysteria. It's cats and dogs living together,
or with a significantly small number of Waffle Houses.
Yes,
some of them, the ones with smaller numbers tend to be swing states.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And then the ones with absolutely none tend to be left wing bastion, or just tend to be taken over by the left wing. And it's funny because I'm looking here and I'm trying to find a conservative state where there are no Waffle Houses, and I am just not. Even the swing states like Idaho. Okay, Idaho is the one conservative state out there, and Utah. Okay, so Idaho and Utah are the only ones that are out there that do not have Waffle Houses. How do we explain that anomaly?
Mormons don't eat Waffle House. That's just a thing. It's in their book.
Okay.
And then Idaho, you can't get the hash browns out there quick enough. They wouldn't be fresh. You know.
Okay. All right. I'll buy that. I'll buy that for $1.
Yeah.
Now, the other day during a press conference,
right?
The KJP, the inept communications director or press secretary for the Biden administration, referred to some conversations that were had between Joe Biden and John Fetterman, the candidate for Senate there in Pennsylvania, and after his recent debate debacle, and we all know the foibles of Joe Biden, one has to wonder exactly what that conversation looked like.
I picture it like when you hear Charlie Brown's teachers talking to themselves. It's like that. It made no sense to anybody but them.
I would love to see some comedians. I would love to see that. That sounds like a perfect Saturday Night Live skit, to actually have the two of them having a conversation.
Yeah, I don't know if you could get people to play that ignorant and dumb. You know, that's kind of tough.
What?
Yeah.
You have my tapioca?
Yeah. Well, I guess they could get Baldwin to do it. You know
that, and I backwards because, and that's where I stand.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
For those of you who are listening, no, your sound was not cutting in and out. I was imitating Mr. Fetterman.
Yeah, I bet you Biden would try and kiss that hump on Fetterman's neck.
Ooh. If it were on a teenage girl, he probably would.
Well, it might be. I mean, it looks like I said, a 28 in the womb, so it could be a girl. Who knows? You know.
Okay. On that note, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors before we skedaddle.
And we could also go to our last parting shot, which you didn't include, but I will give our sponsors again. Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Check them out for all your AR barrel needs, rifle and pistol calibers available. That's hitmanindustries.net. We've got the California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind the enemy lines. Reach out to them and help where you can. $1 bill. And then, of course, if you want some awesome combat gear, some awesome tactical gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
All right, now, folks, don't think that because he says there's a final parting shot, he's trying to force me to use this one that he wanted to use. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to him, but he's the one that's got to read it.
All right. It's Kermit looking out the old glass window there, you know, with a little, maybe a little fog, little steam, little rain on it. And it says, sometimes I just miss the way he said China.
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 That's the way he said it.
The China virus.
The China virus.
Yeah. There you go. That's how you do it.
Mike definitely amuses himself.
There you go. China.
China. Okay, on that note, we're going to call it a day. We very much appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Feedback Friday. So you guys have a good time. Figure out something to do. Till then.